Despite starting the NBA offseason off as one of the least productive teams in the league, the Miami Heat have been praised for their move to acquire Norman Powell. The sharpshooting guard had an all-star caliber season this past year, and in a weak East, could really elevate the Heat to being one of the best teams in the conference. His addition also allows for the Heat to trade a valuable asset in former #1 overall pick, Andrew Wiggins. The Heat acquired him as part of the Jimmy Butler trade and have been shopping him throughout the offseason. One team that has frequently been eyeing the NBA champion forward is the Los Angeles Lakers. However, the Heat and Lakers have been stuck at a standstill when it comes to a deal, as the Heat are reportedly asking for far too much, knowing how desperate the Lakers are to make moves. While Rob Pelinka is expected to be in Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League and will have a chance to negotiate in person, the Milwaukee Bucks have emerged as another suitor, according to 5 Reasons Sports' Greg Sylvander. Milwaukee may be another suitor for Andrew Wiggins, Sylvander reported. A development that comes just a month after Clutch Point's Brett Siegel reported the Bucks' initial interest in Wiggins, and one that may indicate that the Bucks are circling back around, as the Lakers may have missed their chance to land Wiggins. While it's unclear what moves the Lakers can make that will make LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and the fans happy, they do find themselves in a tough spot as they are transitioning from being built around James to building around Doncic. Landing Wiggins would show signs of investment in both, but the Bucks may have something to say about that. The Miami Heat recently pulled off a blockbuster 3-team trade with the Los Angeles Clippers and Utah Jazz on Monday, acquiring star scorer Norman Powell from the Clippers in the process. Heat team president Pat Riley and the rest of the franchise's front office were praised by the broader NBA media landscape after the deal was finalized, as the group landed a fringe all-star guard that could assist their all-star Tyler Herro in the backcourt. Powell's addition to the squad could help the team to become a dark horse favorite to come out of a wide-open Eastern Conference in 2025-26, but it's possible that the team may figure that there's more work left to be done. In fact, Clutch Point's Brett Siegel recently reported that the Heat are once again in the running to bring in a 9-time All-Star and NBA's 75th anniversary team member, Damian Lillard, for the second time in the past 3 summers. Damian Lillard is in no rush to decide on his future, Siegel wrote Tuesday evening. After suffering a torn Achilles and being released by the Milwaukee Bucks, Lillard and his camp have talked with several notable teams in playoff contending positions, league sources said. In the immediate aftermath of the Milwaukee Bucks' decision to waive the future Hall of Fame inductee on Monday, Siegel shared some of the superstar guard's top potential destinations. The Heat have long been linked to Lillard even before he was traded to the Bucks in 2023, and both the Boston Celtics and Golden State Warriors find themselves near the top of the list for Lillard as well. While teams like the Golden State Warriors and Boston Celtics could entice Lillard due to their championship victories this decade in 2022 and 2024, respectively, the Heat's pair of NBA Finals appearances in the past half-decade may be enough to lure the all-time great point guard away. Lillard's incredibly unfortunate Achilles injury will likely keep him out for all of the 2025-26 campaign, regardless of where he lands. Even still, the 7-time All-NBA team selection can easily elevate any contender in the league to odds-on title favorites. In 58 appearances with the Bucks this past regular season, Lillard contributed 24.9 points, 7.1 assists, and 4.7 rebounds while knocking down 37.6% of his 9.0 attempts from three-point range and 92.1% of his looks at the free throw line. After striking out on Lillard via trade during the 2023 offseason, the Heat will have another strong chance to welcome the legendary scoring guard aboard prior to the 2025-26 campaign. In the early hours of Monday, the Miami Heat found themselves involved in a deal that was, quite frankly, difficult to pass up on. The Heat acquired fringe all-star caliber player Norman Powell in a 3-team trade involving the Utah Jazz and Los Angeles Clippers and needed to give up just Kyle Anderson, Kevin Love, and a second-round pick. For that price, getting Powell was a no-brainer. For all the flack the Heat front office has caught for their hardball way of conducting business in trades, this was a steal even if Powell didn't play his best basketball for the Clippers in their first-round series exit against the Denver Nuggets. Nonetheless, even with Powell joining Tyler Herro, Bam Adebayo, and Andrew Wiggins, It's not likely for the Heat to be anything more than a middle-seeded playoff team, even though they reside in the wide-open Eastern Conference. There are some moves the Heat have to make still, and they at least appear to have the assets to swing this deal if need be. Here is the next trade the Heat must make after acquiring Powell. Heat trade Terry Rozier for prime bounce-back candidate Marcus Smart. Heat acquire Marcus Smart. Wizards acquire Terry Rozier. At this point, Terry Rozier is just hogging up some valuable space on the Heat's cap sheet. When he was acquired in early 2024 in a trade that saw the Heat gave up a lottery-protected 2028 first-round pick for him, he was a flamethrower for the Charlotte Hornets who was averaging over 23 points per game. Since then, Rozier has been on the decline, and suffice to say, he hasn't met expectations at all in South Beach. In fact, Rozier was investigated for his potential involvement in a betting scandal, and though he was cleared, it's been rather apparent that his head isn't in the right space, and he's not long for the Heat organization. During the 2024-25 campaign, Rozier was dismal, averaging just 10.6 points on 39.1% shooting from the field, and amid a season of flux with the Jimmy Butler situation and all, it was shocking for Rozier to end up being a complete shell of his former self. A change of scenery might be the move for Rozier, as even his first half season in Miami did not yield the results he had when he was playing in Charlotte. Sometimes, it simply does not work out for a player in a particular context, and there has been more than enough evidence that Rozier isn't the best fit with the Heat. At the very least, Rozier's contract is expiring at the end of the 2025-26 campaign, so it's not like the Heat will be stuck with a potential albatross on their books for the long term. But with the Heat always looking to remain semi-competitive, it should be in the best interest for them to find a way to improve the roster using the $26.6 million remaining on his deal. Rozier has negative trade value, but with the Heat not having too many draft assets at their disposal, it's unlikely for them to swing a trade for an impact player. They will have to part ways with perhaps their 2026 or 2030 first-rounder to do so. And the Heat might not want to be that aggressive considering they're not among the teams with a legitimate chance to win it all come next year. Trading Rozier for another depressed asset might be the way. And with that, why not approach the Washington Wizards on a potential one-on-one swap for Marcus Smart, who's in the final year of his contract, making $21.6 million. Smart has endured a difficult past 2 seasons, playing in just 54 games combined during that span. But when healthy, he's shown flashes of being the lockdown 3 and D guard he's been throughout his career. Alas, it's possible that Smart is never healthy again and that he hangs it up within the next year or so considering how badly the past 2 seasons have gone for him on the injury front. Smart seems to pick up little knocks here and there, which have added up and contributed to him not being his best self even if he's just 31 years of age. But perhaps he finds himself rejuvenated with the Heat's training regimen, and if Miami manages to nurse him back to full health, he'd be a valuable backcourt piece, giving the Heat a lockdown defensive backcourt duo with him and Davion Mitchell. Giving up a second-round pick to buy low on Smart isn't too high of a price to pay, and Smart has more impact upside than Rozier does, making it worth the risk to get ahead of the competition with many teams looking to take a chance on the former Defensive Player of the Year should he hit the buyout market.